I'm David T. Smith. I'm a writer, spirits consultant. I write for Gin Magazine and write a number of different books. Book on gin tonic, a book on the Negroni, a dessert cocktail book coming out in August. So a lot of gin in it as well, because I know the audience. So anyway, here's our tutored tasting. Let's start off with the first one. And let's start off with the first one, and we'll have it completely blind, I think, just to kind of get you working a little bit and see how we are. So this is our first one, just to kick us off. Any initial thoughts on this one? Just as we start going. All right, here we go. Rachel, what do you think?
Jaws would be in the front row. Super classic for me, actually. Yeah, just like juniper hitting there, kind of all the elements of the wood floor.
Yeah. People disagree? Agree? Lots of juniper? Can't say not enough juniper in this one. This is, we'll come back to what's new. This is the Naked Pinkster. Naked, why naked? This is the gin before it has the fruit and that added to it to make the pinkster that you all know and love. This is the type before. Only been released relatively recently. It's been made for a long time. This has been the base. But quite a new release with a real chockload of juniper in there, and then 4 other botanicals, which just kind of complement, and also, of course, it was designed to work well with the fruit subsequently. As you can see on the gin note here, lots and lots of juniper, but also, I think there's some slightly sort of floral notes, sort of violet, a little sort of oracey kind of thing, maybe, that you're getting there as well. So, yeah, anyone? This makes sense to everyone? There's the flavour profile, yeah? Good starting point. You can't say it's not ginny or junipery. I know we've got the juniper releaser here, so in plain clothes, of course. And, well, we started in a good place, and then you might get upset later. But not with this one. Next one, this is our second sample. This is Cotswolds Platinum Jubilee Gin. Lots of great Jubilee gins that have come out on the market for sure. Wessex did a lovely one. Adams have done an aged one, and there's a whole plethora of different things going on here. So you've got some classic botanicals here with the juniper, coriander, and angelica, and then there's some grapefruit as well. The note I really enjoyed about this one when I was tasting it was the strawberry. And I think strawberry is not an easy thing to distill at all. And I think that that's been done very nice. Sorry? Oh, right, okay. Yes. I think when it's done well, I think it's absolutely delightful. When it's done well, it's beautiful. And I think this is an example here. And then augmented with that you get that slight root beer note, and then you get the pink pepper. And that root beer note is your vanilla and sarsaparilla. It's kind of root beery as opposed to root beardy, whatever that is. But also kind of sort of dandelion and burdock. It's kind of that sort of flavour that you're getting there. Any thoughts on this one? Yeah? People get the strawberries? Good. It's also quite, Bernadette, you love a gin that's got a journey, don't you, when you're tasting? And I think this has got that sort of journey that you quite enjoy. 46%. Interestingly, it comes to one of the things that I was going to mention in what's new. And it seems, and that is the rise of the grapefruit. I mean, grapefruit has been around for a long time, but I have noticed it more and more either as a botanical in new gins coming out, or as a named botanical. I think there's about 4 or 5 named on the bottle rosemary and grapefruit gins out on the market now that have come out in the last couple of years, which is quite interesting. Of course, grapefruit, nothing particularly new in gin. I mean, I'm sure it's been used for a very, very long time. I think at least one of the first ones I remember seeing it in was Beefeater Crown Jewel. That's one of the additions that they had to that, and back then that was really exciting, you know. I mean, it's a great gin, but that was like quite exciting to get grapefruit, not just lemon and orange. But you know, you're seeing it, as I said, in this Platinum Gin, also in the Wessex one is in there. We will come on to the Hayman's Gin, where it's there. The River Test, their Sunset Citrus, it's in there. And the new one from Mermaid, that's got grapefruit in it as well. And that's just a few that I could think of that have come out relatively recently. But, you know, good use as a botanical. We've got to be sparing with it, I think, because it can overpower, but also quite pleasant as a garnish. I'm a big fan of particularly ruby grapefruit as a garnish in my gin tonic. So, paid to the lemon versus... Actually, let's see how people are doing it. Who is, by default, I know it depends on the gin, who by default is a lemon garnish in their gin and tonic? Okay, here we go. And who likes a lime? Yeah. Orange? Couple, yeah. Anything? Grapefruit? Of whatever it is? If there's one around. You cut them up and put them in the freezer. Easy. Anything else? That anyone's got some other random thing they like in there? Mint? Yeah, that's not there. Particularly you can get some fresh mint. That's quite nice. Anything else? Thyme. Like a dipped in pocket watch or something. Thyme is nice. Lemon thyme or just thyme? Oh, that's true. Excellent. Well, nice. We've got a nice range of people here. That's good. I like to see that. I know there's definitely some people can get very funny about what the garnish is. Just leave them, let them put the tonic in themselves and let them put the garnish in themselves. That's what I say. Okay. Well, moving on with the citrus, we move to Hayman's Exotic Citrus Gin. Here we go. 41.1. We've got it here. There you go. I will hold up the other ones as well so you can see them. So, made not too far away. Of course we've got juniper in there, and then we've got kumquat and pomelo, which is a relation of the grapefruit, Persian lime and mandarin. So let's have a little taste of this. Thoughts on this one? Lovely, good. Sherbety, yeah. Any thought? Come on, people are being quiet here. Carl, what do you think?
Yeah, sherbety, definitely.
I think one of the things I really liked about it, and because there's a lot of citrusy gins out there, because you know people like citrus in gin. I mean, you know, there we go. Stop the press. Who thought? Who knew? But what I really like about this is it's not, it'd be quite easy to make a very, very zesty gin that's quite oily and maybe almost a little bit overpowering. But what I like about this is it's got a succulence to it. It's got like an almost slight sort of citrusy jelly. I'm going back to when I was making the Jubilee trifle, so that's probably where my mind is. And the trouble I had with the Mandarin coulis. It was a right nightmare. But that's what I like about this. It's got a beautiful succulence to it with the citrus. It's still obviously a gin, because I think with doing something that was a citrus gin, it would be so easy to go into a citrus vodka. Of course, we wouldn't expect anything like that from the Haymans, of course, you know. Custodians of juniper, as you are. So, yeah, delightful, very easy to drink in a whole range of in gin tonic martinis with sparkling water or whatever you kind of fancy, really. One of the other things I really like about this is, and I think this is where we are with gin now, is it has a very clear idea of what it is. You look at the bottle, and it's very, very clear. It's exotic citrus gin. And you know, okay, it's citrus, but there's going to be something a little bit different about it. You tell from the colour scheme, it's a very obvious kind of sell to the consumer. They know exactly what it is. They know, oh, it's citrusy, so it's kind of going to be summery and things like that. I was having a discussion with someone about a gin that they were making, which was a citrusy gin, and they were kind of talking about, what do they call it? And I think they wanted to call it something, it was like something in rosehip. It was a complicated kind of thing. And I said, no, do something easier. And then I said, like citrus sunrise or citrus sunset. And I think, no. Then I saw the bottle and I was like, oh, you're welcome. And very nice that is as well. So yeah, lovely. Another really great one on there. Now we move on to something a little bit different. So we go to Citadel. So this is the Vive le Cornichon gin. This is definitely going to be a little bit more out there. First off, I've got to say, I really love what Citadel have been doing over the last sort of 2 or 3 years. They've rebuilt the distillery. They've going to grow like more of their botanicals around the area where they are. So they're doing a lot more like growing their juniper and things like that. And they are starting to do these limited editions. So they did one Saison de Witch, which was with the smoked juniper. They did the Juniper Decadence, which was kind of like I think it's the 20th or 25th anniversary, which was a gin aged in juniper wood cask. And this is their latest piece of madness, which is, I think, partly inspired by sometimes, I mean, who here is a fan of a Gibson? Okay, and sometimes when you have a Gibson or a similar cocktail, there's a little Cornichon pickle in it. I don't know, does that have a name, Jared? Is it just, just some other variation? Anyway, I think this is part of your inspiration here. It's got the same 19 botanicals that normal Citadel has. It's made in that same process where they do the maceration and they gradually reduce in this big tank and they gradually reduce the ABV before they put it in the still, mostly without any botanicals in there, actually going into the final still, and with a wheat distillate. It's 43.8, and when you smell it, it smells pickly. I am intrigued as to some thoughts from some people. Matthew? Cheese and pickle. Bit of Branston Bramble. Anyone over here? Emma? I think that's the thing, right? It's got, I mean, I think they've achieved what they were set out for. You get the pickle and all that sort of thing, but it's kind of, what do you do with it subsequently? What's the tonic that you would match with it? And I mean, to me, I mean, it's always a bit of a safe option, but something like this would be a Fever Tree Mediterranean, I would guess, would be my initial view that I would go. What people at the back here? Bernie, what do you think?
I'm actually quite surprised that it's quite elegant and it's really well balanced. I was expecting more. I do really like pickle. I think the balance is quite nice.
Does anyone here not like pickles? And those people, and I'm one of those as well. And are those the people that don't like pickles? Do you also not like this gin, or is it? Yeah, because I'm not a big fan at all. Just we started off well, Charles. You know, you can't have everything. But I think that's interesting. Sorry? Oh, Will. There you go. Yeah, I think it's an interesting variation. I'm intrigued to see. They did do a pepper gin with different peppers in it, but I don't think it's coming to the UK because they somehow managed to call it Sergeant Pepper's. But I think it's probably not going to make it here because I think it might be, someone might get a bit upset about it. But I'd be keen to try it. Anyway, some good innovation with Alexander there. And I'm very much looking forward to what they're doing. Some things are a little bit more out there like this, and some stuff really is doubling down on the juniper, which is great. Chris? I do know the pickleback cocktail. Yeah, I mean, those that aren't familiar with the pickleback cocktail, it's a shot of Irish whiskey and a shot of pickle juice. And it was explained to me that, and usually it's Jameson's, quite often it's Jameson's, and it was explained to me that the pickle juice was to take the edge off the whiskey. But I was like, Jameson is like not a particularly edgy whiskey as it goes. I think I'd just give me 2 Jamesons, please, if we're going to go down that route. Yeah, I tried it once. It's possibly the worst cocktail I ever had. I tried it so I knew, but yes, gag reflex and all that. But we'll move on for the people that don't like pickles. Right. Now, so this is something a little bit different, something a bit special that we've got here. We've had some matured gins here on the stage before, and we've certainly, there's been lots of variation. You know, I guess a lot of the modern sort of aged gins were maybe sort of somewhere around sort of 2010, maybe slightly earlier, and a lot of them are just sort of ex-bourbon casks generally, and it wasn't necessarily the most exciting. And we've seen a bit more. I know a number of people here judge aged gin in different competitions, and they can be fantastic and they can be not. This is a beautiful example though. So this is a collaboration between Ginsmiths and then Glenfarclas as well, and you've got it all here. The bottle is here. Sorry. There you go. I like this. This is from Speyside to Merseyside, which is and it is, I'm trying to think where we got, yeah, 220 days in cask. So here we go, this is it here. Very much designed for sipping, so let's have a little taste. It's 46% as well. Any thoughts on this one? Sorry? Yeah, from the barrel. Not for a mature gin, I don't think. I think that's, you'd expect it. I mean, you'd be a bit suspect otherwise, I think. I mean, some mature gins don't have a lot of colour because depending on how old the barrel is and how long they've been in there for. But I think this is quite a pleasant colour. To my mind, and the reason why I chose it is I felt like there was a really nice marriage between the botanicals that were in there and the wood. You can get some that might be far, far woodier, but what I really liked about this was it kind of had the balance between the two there. But any people like this one? Oh yeah, Dan. Sorry? Is this a gin? Yes, it's a gin. It's a cask aged gin. It's cask aged gin, yeah. And quite legitimately so. Yeah. No worries. You couldn't call it a London. Oh, let's not get into whether you can call it a London dry or not. We'll be here forever. And is this right? Have I had that much time? Crumbs. Anyway, any other thoughts on this one though, on the taste, as opposed to the legal aspects of it? Oh, like, yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think also it would make a really lovely julep. So just a little bit of fresh mint and then plenty of the booze and ice and a little tiny bit of sugar, and I think that would be quite delightful actually. Or as a sort of, in that sort of whiskey soda style. Okay, we now move to the Smidgen from Adams, which is white in brown. So this is very much in the style that we've seen a few of these, what I guess grouply would call a high flavour gin, because it started off with Hayman's Small Gin. There's a gin essence from Cotswolds, the one that Atom does, Anno do their 95% gin, and then this is the latest one, which is Adam's one, which is Smidgen. Part of the reason for having this was just to kind of illustrate as things that are changing, that this area seems to continue to be growing, at least in terms of offering, which is quite interesting. We've pre-mixed it, and it was poured some time ago, so it's all not going to be. It's not going to be the perfect serve, I'm afraid. But let's have a taste anyway.
What's the blended ABV for fine serve, do you think?
It's about 0.6. What I found I quite liked when I was experimenting was that it comes with this little spoon. I actually feel the same about Hayman's Small Gin. I quite like just getting a little can of Beaver Tree, of course, and just opening the top. That's all there is, really. That's all there is. And then and just putting it straight into the can and just have it that way. And I think much easier. Make sure the can's nice and cold. But I think that works. That works very well. Any people? Oh yes, I can.
Sorry, this is maybe a question about actually Joe, but obviously with this, it's saying like 2.5 mil measure, like how would that really work then in the on-trade with something with like weights and measures? Or is this then purely like just an off?
These are the question was, because it's 2.5 mil, the measure for a serve, how does that work on the on-trade with weights and measures? Because it's smaller than...
Well, it's not in use for trade.
No.
Purely all trade.
Yeah.
I'd also argue if you get a gin and tonic, you've added 3 things to it and that's a cocktail, isn't it? So therefore, have you got past that? Because you've got ice, you've got fluid, that kind of alcoholic. Because you see that.
Yeah, it's a good point, and I think generally this is designed for the domestic. Okay. Any thoughts on this one in particular? Any thoughts on the category? I mean, Sarah, you're a fan, aren't you?
Yeah, big fan. Yeah, great innovation. I always use something like this over an actual no product.
Yeah, you're still getting, well, and as has been discussed before, quite difficult to distill with just water, right? I know, Charles said better. No. I actually haven't yet tried it. I mean, I'll try it now. I don't mind. I imagine it'll be strong. It's 50%, so don't try this at home. Earthy. Yeah, it's quite a lot of. It's not outrageously. It's not like some things I've had where it just totally overpowers, but it's quite earthy, violet, and then get citrus at the end. So, but it's quite punchy. So I'll have a little water now.
So do you think it would make a great gin and tonic if you put full measure in it?
You would have to try that at home for yourself, Carl. Or later. But also, interestingly, got the malted barley in there as well. So, I think there's a range of different ABVs that are being used for these kind of products. I think, as Sarah was saying, I think they're a good alternative to some of the low-no alternatives as well. So long may we see these sorts of things continue and can the innovation continue as well. Let's just wait until the pink one comes out, right? Gentlemen at the back.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, we're in the process of launching a very similar product. Annoyingly, Adam stopped there for us, but hey. But there's a massive piece around the education bit at lower notes because people don't quite understand that the fact that it's, our product's going to be 3% proof. So people are going, well, that's the alcoholic, how it works. So we've got a measuring screen as well, but it's an education piece we've done. But I think the category is growing. And actually, I think with Adam's being out there, it's a benefit to that part of the category, as when you mentioned about innovation, that we'll get there with it. I think the no alcohol gins just don't,
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think, as I said, I think that there's some strength in having a number of different brands having their products out there as well. So we move on to another sort of trend, and this is RTDs and RTSs. What's the difference? Ready to drinks are like canned gin and tonic. Ready to serves are things like this, which typically wouldn't be drunk from the bottle. Here. But usually, like, you'd either put this in the freezer and then pour it, or you would maybe put it over ice or put it in the fridge or something like that. Although I do remember a quote which is something along the lines of, you can no more refrigerate a martini than you can a kiss. I know I've mucked up the quote, but that's roughly what someone said. Although actually I think with something like this, I disagree. So here we go. It's Sacred Gin and their vermouth, and it is glass number 7. It's 39.6. Martini fans in? Good. Yeah, the gentleman here.
I was going to ask, so this is ready to serve, so straight from the bottle into
Yeah, in this case, actually, we put it straight from the bottle into a cup. But I think when I've had it at home, I've put it in the I've put it in the freezer and I've served it from the freezer, and I think that's better because I want a cold martini. So, and it's already had a bit of dilution. You're down to sort of 39.6. So I think, to me, that works very nicely. But the point is, and this is this variation on the RTD versus the RTS, which I think as this category is growing, we're going to have to start thinking about things like this, is that, you know, this is not designed, this is more than one portion, and it's not designed to be drunk on its own, whereas if you had a can of gin and tonic, then it is. Thoughts on this one? I know it's not cold, but if it was cold, imagine. There you go. Ambient martinis. The future. Remember that? No, sorry, it was an inside joke, sorry.
With the category, like, just even down to your preference, like, would you prefer like a multiple serve bottling or like a single serve? Like, you see a thing with like the pocket Negronis that you're seeing like single serves compared to this, like, what would be your preference?
I like both, actually. I'll tell you that I've got a little bit more time, haven't I?
You're on red light.
I know I'm on the red light, but I started late. Sorry, Chris. Anyway, yeah, I like both, actually. I will say that the pocket Negroni is one of the worst things I've ever taken on a plane. Everyone, not because I wasn't allowed to take it on a plane. The pocket Negroni and the pocket Martini, both really great products. But everyone was just so interested in what it was. It just took so long to get through security because they were all like, oh, what's this? So I was, and actually once I had it on the plane, it was lovely, but there we go. And with that, we come on to the last one, which is the Midnight Liquor Club Banana Negroni. It's equal parts. Yeah, good. Coming from here. With a bitter orange aperitif, you know which one we're talking about, and it has an infusion of baby raw bananas, which are ripe and uncooked. So that's where the banana flavour is coming from. With this, we've got here. An equal part of it is gin. Again, this is in that area of the ready to serves. And again, as I was talking about the previous thing, what I like about this is it's very clear what you're getting. So it's not just a Negroni, it's a banana Negroni. Negroni is very easy cocktail to make at home. It's 3 things, equal parts. Yeah.
Why bananas?
Why bananas? They do a chocolate one as well. I could have bought the chocolate one, but I thought the banana one would be more fun. So that is the reason. Yeah, I'm told I've got to shut up. Sorry, everyone. My sincere apologies. Has anyone got any final questions, though? No? One other thing I've got to talk about, because I told the person I'd talk about it. So, one of the other things I was going to say that I'd noticed things sort of were changing was with bottles. And looking at reusability and things with bottles and things like that. And so I bought this because they kindly sent me one, if I can get it out of the bag. So this is, and so we talk about recyclability of bottles, but there's also reusability of bottles. And I've definitely seen lots more people talking about the reusability, and I'll have these so you can have a look later. But so this is from One Gin, and this is their new, this sort of watercraft thing that they've got, and you see it's got this water thing on there. But that's kind of this design, so that rather than just recycling bottles, the whole thing can be reused, which I think is quite a cool thing. And then also, the other thing that was interesting is that we've got there it is there. This is East London Liquor Company, and their new refill service is they will refill any 700ml bottle with the gin, and they put a new label and they put the duty stamp on it. So, I mean, not so great for the glass guys, but nevertheless, it's disgusting. But anyway, it's just something that's going on, and I wanted to make sure that it was raised. And just finally, what do people think of the Negroni? Good. Thank you very much.